Gotta welcome everybody. Friday live stream, fastest 60 minutes on YouTube. No doubt about it. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Independent Investor Channel live stream. My name is Ryan, one of the original live streamers on YouTube. All right. I say that with full confidence. Been doing this for a while, pushing out this product with a focus unlike others. No doubt about it. We like to keep the focus on you guys. There's probably a lot of new folks, visitors to the channel, as well as the devout subscribers who have been with me for eons and eons, watch me do my dirt. Absolutely. Because they know that I continually foot stomp. And if you are part of this community and you are part of this message, your success is the channel's success. Okay. I am an ambassador for retail investors. There is no doubt about it. What I do works. I deploy a multi-layer strategy in my wealth building. And it works. It works. In some form or fashion, you guys could learn how it is I wealth build by deploying very, very simple strategies. I think, unfortunately, a lot of people make this gig a hell of a lot more difficult than it needs to be. That's the unfortunate part about it. Okay. If you guys read the description of this video, I get it. I'm being a smart ass. There's no doubt. I don't actually mean what I say in the description. I do that to poke a little bit of fun at what I kind of see on the landscape is that people spend way too much time trying to figure the stock market out. I just went through, did a comprehensive portfolio review. We've got a jam-packed show for you guys. I'm going to roll out where we are week over week. I always do that from Friday to Friday. Welcome everybody into the message. We are currently running a 50% off discount. Okay. Now I want to give a shout out to Proper 19 who gave me a $9.99 tip. That's fantastic. That's at least a couple coffees and a donut at Dunkin' Donuts. So Proper 19, thank you so much, man. Big shout out to you. That's fabulous. So $9.99, man. That help. Every little bit helps. All right. All right. So if you guys want to make your way over to the independentinvestorgroup.com, that's independentinvestorgroup.com. There is opportunity there to join my Viper group. It's 50% off, guys. For previous military members, I'm active duty, 16 years going here, a couple years away from retirement eligibility. What the hell? I might just tack on an extra 10 and do 30. But because I'm crazy like that. And I always learned when I was commercial fishing in Alaska to stick and stay and make it pay, guys. So I want to welcome everybody. Jam-packed freaking show tonight. You're going to want to stay tuned for the totality. This might be 60 minutes well devoted to changing your life going forward. All right. So stick around, guys. That 60 minutes on a Friday evening, well spent. It's time away from my family, okay? But this is time well spent as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, the content put through this week, I just felt like the timing was right. I was very encouraged by what was being covered over the landscape over the last couple of years. I do have an inquiry in with Hyliion to run my own Thomas Healy interview. We'll see how that shakes. I will continue to be a squeaky wheel on that, because I think delivered from my perspective might go a long way for the subscriber base. Hope you guys didn't mind the content rolling through on the Hyliion specific stuff. I know that's probably brought some new folks to the channel. That's great. I hate to disappoint you, but the focus of my channel is not Hyliion. Okay. And I don't think that should be the focus of the masses. I don't. I think if you really want to engage in a wealth building strategy for yourself, pay attention. I'll teach you how to layer up. Okay. I'm a blue collar worker, single income family working on $500,000. Very simple. I've been in hawk with the IRS. I've had credit debt. Absolutely. That we fought out of and succeeded at knocking down. Currently, my debt to income ratio is 0. So unlike the 20% in the United States, which is accepted as being normal, I beg to differ. For each and every one of you guys that don't want to get consumed by the system, maybe take command of your money. It's super, super important for you guys to stick around. Take a few nuggets, okay? I give them. Take them. They're yours. Okay? This is for you. The last thing I want to have is somebody come on and be entertained by my dry humor and some of the jokes that I sometimes roll out off the cuff, and you don't get anything out of it. That's not the point. Okay. I know there's a lot of people who attend YouTube for the entertainment value of it. I run my channel a little bit different. I'm looking to share a testimonial on what is possible in wealth building for a blue collar, regular fellow like myself. Okay. Now, if I need to come on here and I need to drink bourbon to prove to you that I'm a regular fella, great. If I need to rip a loud fart on my live stream, I can do that too. But make no mistake about it, I try to run this like it's a backyard barbecue. Okay. You need to understand that I come on here and share my story through YouTube, and I don't have to. I don't have to. I don't do this for a living. That's the way that it'll continue to be. And when I get those success stories come back to me, that's all the energy that I need. It really is. We're going to have Junior Stock Investor at the end of the program here. I'll bring him on midstream, but we got a lot of business to attend to, and I want to jump in. I want to cover some of these questions. Proper 19, thank you so much. I really appreciate that support, man. Really, really awesome stuff. I want to know the top 4 or so things on your retirement list you plan to do for fun. Before I give you mine, I want each and every one of you guys to continue to dream. And to be honest with you, man, the root of what keeps me grounded, what keeps me going, are the very dreams that I'm going to disclose to you guys. Okay. Purpose in this life is huge. What are you striving for? What are you going for? What are you spending your time pursuing? Are you spending 99% of your time staring at the stock market? Get over it. Okay. If you're looking to really define your life by having $1 million or $2 or $3 or $5 or $20 million portfolio, that's great. I would dub you successful in the financial category. But when was the last time you tried to strengthen your spiritual side? When was the last time you took a stab at health and well-being? When was the last time you hit the gym? Okay. I don't mean to be judgmental. I don't. But if it's any indication on how often I go to the gym and I'm the only one there, it's probably indicative of some of these other areas that people are seemingly way too busy with all kinds of other stuff in life, but they're not focused on the top 5 things in chronological order: health and well-being, relationships. Yeah. If you can get a good life partner, I highly encourage you to do that. If you can procreate and duplicate yourself like I have, you should see my little fella. He's a spitting image of me. We're going to win at soccer tomorrow, by God. We're going to freaking win. My daughter, my son, my family, right? Relationships, spiritual, financial for me is number 4 on the list because I think it fulfills some of those other aspects in life. And finally, purpose. Like I know people that have all those, but they just don't feel like they have quite the purpose in life. Let me get to Dividend Dogo's question here. I have a lot of things, okay? And these are the things, I have a list, okay, of positive things, and I have a list of negative things. And that positive list I think of all the time. And I disclosed on a couple live streams ago, or the last one, that my things that make me depressed or things that make me kind of feel down, okay? I'm not a robot. I'm a human freaking being. Things get me down. I'm a thinker. I had to catch I'm Not a Guru by Tony Robbins, who's my number 1 influence in this life. Just love watching that stuff. It really helped me, man. I was a fucking sobbing mess, right? But here's what keeps me grounded, man. I have aspirations to build a house. Absolutely. That's number 1. Number 2 is to travel. And if I can, I would love to have the love of my life with me on those travels. I would like to golf. Golfing is the greatest game. I've evolved as I get older in appreciating how incredible golf is. I want to continue playing guitar. I want to continue to exercise. I want to spend time in general with the wife and kids and potentially grandkids. And if I can spend that time tending to a lot of barbecue and I can spend that time tending to the pool, I will become a pool man in my retirement. I just think it'd be cool because it's part of the lifestyle thing, right? I want to finish my book that I have started. I've got about 200 pages somewhere sitting around my desk. It always stays around me. It's a life project of mine, talking about my commercial fishing and living on the boat for all those years. And then finally, to continue on with this project. This is part of me, and you guys are all part of that. If you guys ceased to exist and decided that Ryan with I2 wasn't for you guys, and I wasn't doing my job and inspiring a motivational message, and you decided to go elsewhere, well, then the channel would cease to exist, because a lot of the heart of the channel beats with you guys. I'm just here to facilitate the business, but I really appreciate that. That's very cool. Let me jump in. We're going to do the portfolio reviews, guys. Very interesting week. As far as my stock market pulse, I just did a deep dive analysis on my portfolio allocation. I always run through all the sectors. I was able to identify the top 5 sectors that I need to work on. Number 1, technology. Number 2, discretionary. Number 3, healthcare. Number 4 is financials. And number 5 is telecom services. Okay. Now there's 32 stocks that I've earmarked, and I'm just going to rapid fire shoot them at you like a machine gun tonight. But we're going to cover the portfolios here, because I've disclosed over the last couple of weeks that we have moved into somewhat of a cash lean position, which is great. It's exactly what I needed to do to recalibrate, to restructure the allocation the way that I want. Some of the sectors, industrials and energy, I'm overweight. Energy has just been on fire for me. A couple picks out of energy. Important to note, I think Chevron is number 1 on my list, but Valero is absolutely fabulous. It could take that number 1 position there. MPC, I'm 100% up on across the board in energy, except for my large holdings in Royal Dutch Shell and ExxonMobil, respectively. And then industrials is a freaking mess. It's a mess. Okay, so the spec play right now in Hyliion, which unfortunately is categorized as an industrial, I look at it more as yes, a quasi-industrial play, but with a technology twist to it. Unfortunately takes up quite a bit of the lion's share in industrials, but I was able to parlay what I considered to be somewhat rich valuations in 3M. Lockheed Martin, I think, is going to above 400. I wish I didn't need to sell that, but I did. So I took nice profit in Lockheed. We'll continue to monitor it. I could enter it. I sold it at 384. Right now, it was in the low 370s today. I actually considered taking a re-entry into the stock, but we just held out because we're so overweight industrials. I'm trying to do some portfolio work here to rebalance what we're working with, okay? So like every Friday, I roll out and just give you guys a week over week on where we are here. This is the taxable brokerage account. There's only 2 holdings. This has been drawn down from about 10 holdings. Very cash-rich position. We're looking to deploy some of that cash in the strategy. Once I get done going through my deliberation on how I'm going to redeploy cash, and keep in mind here, guys, down to the dollar amount, I've got the underweight dollar amount. I'm not going to come to the table with technology right now. I'm underweight by about 76,000. Okay, so I've got X number of dollars in the space. And in accordance with my aggressive investor profile, my portfolio allocation calls for certain said allocation percentages to those slices. Technology, 76,000. Am I going to be throwing a $76,000 bill at this market with the current condition? No, but I've got some pockets of value that I'm looking at. Facebook on the slight pullback, right? I did exit Facebook at 315 here in the low 3s, right? Today didn't really help me on my thesis that the market was really, really hot and really, really oversold last week. That's why I digressed and pulled some profit back. You guys need to understand too, if you want to come in and say, well, Ryan, you're trying to time the market, you suck. Everybody sucks. You suck really bad. That's not necessarily true. Still got well over $250,000 invested in the market. But this is $100,000 account here that's basically cash rich. Not a whole heck of a lot here. This is where the large position in Hyliion lies. In just about 2,500 shares there in the taxable brokerage, about 314 shares of AT&T. So about a $10,000 bill in AT&T there, just coming off a very nice quarter. So very satisfied there, and we're gonna retool this. Trust me, guys. I don't do this to invest in cash. Okay, I do this to realize the opportunity cost of said cash, and look to re-rack, reassess, and then redeploy. That's kind of a strategy, and I go through this every now and then. Here's the Roth IRA number one. Obviously, very, very cash rich. 60-40 blend in here. JP Morgan Chase. The financials is one of those top 5 sectors that I need to work on. Financials is tough. Either I add more to JP Morgan, which I'm not very excited about, or adding to Bank of America, which is overvalued, and adding to BlackRock, which I feel is probably the best of the space, or branching out into the insurers with either Aflac or Allstate, which have shown up on my screeners as 2 of the 32 stocks that kind of came up on where I could seek exposure to fill up the financial sector. But as the rest of it plays out here, I do have a nice position in Hyliion as well in here, and then the SoFi SPAC and the warrants as well. We're going to convert those, and we're just going to hold those long. Okay. Wells Fargo, couldn't be happier. Realty Income Core, couldn't be happier. So the performance there really carrying us along. And I think you're going to find that when we get to the bottom line here, you're going to see that the performance in the total overall portfolio is whipping some ass. It's whipping some ass. We're doing well. Yep. Roth IRA 2. Here we go. For you guys that are new to the channel and you're reviewing these portfolios with me, please understand that each of the 2 that I've just declared to you started with $1,500 back in. I started these when I came into military service. So it would have been in, it would have been 2006-ish. Yep. So you can see the power of money. And for a lot of you guys, you might say, man alive, that's 16 years ago. That's not that long ago. No, it's not. It's fantastic. Show you what's possible. So we got some large cap growth here with CrowdStrike and Salesforce.com. Apple, I will probably just go ahead and double this position up. It's the best name to own. Came up in all my screeners. Good to go there. IBM, surprise, great quarter. Hey, we're 5 years late on that call, or premature. I've been saying that for a long time. The value's just been screaming to pick up the 4% yield to boot. But hey, it's stock market investing, man. Nobody's got this thing licked. But yeah, I've got a nice position in IBM, and we're finally back in the black on that. So good to go there. And I provide the little spark line there to show you guys whether or not we're up week over week or down. So all of the accounts are up except for the thrift savings plan, which I think we're up in that as well. However, it didn't have a chance to recalibrate before I rolled the calcs out to you guys. Okay. Here's the passive portfolio. This is just another layer. So in each of these, you can see here where it starts with technology and healthcare and financials and on down the line, right? So about 16,000 in this, so a couple grand per sector. Now, basically, I take that sector amount and I use that in the calculation that I use for the total portfolio to take that off of the recommended allocation to the sector. If you guys need to rewind that and play it back, you totally can. But I do use this, and I factor in the fact that this goes toward the recommended allocation to, let's say, financials, industrials, materials, etc. And this actually draws some of my sector exposure for where my portfolio weighting should be in line with what is recommended for my specific investor style, my investor profile and what it calls for. Okay, so I do use that. And then this is the second M1 Finance. We roll these out in much more detail. Links are provided in all my videos. You guys can kick in there and take a look-see for yourself. There's 71 holdings, 10 sectors. I also take each of those 10 sectors, like technology, healthcare. And if you start to really sit back and internalize why I do what I do, I just showed you the Vanguard passive aspect. This is the passive dividend growth section, right? So each of these strategic accounts, different accounts, completely different strategy, but play into the portfolio whole. Okay. So these are single stock dividend payers in M1 Finance, and it's performed very, very well. Very, very satisfied. Here's the TSP. It marked that it dropped below 50. That's not right. This is taking into account yesterday's dip on the capital gains tax that was rolled out by the Biden administration, and the market took a little disliking to that. And for a short amount of time, it went down. We've made up all those gains today, and I believe then some, flirting with all-time highs today. But it just didn't recalculate. I'm quite certain we're well above the $50,000 mark on the TSP here. Very, very quickly on the options here. These have held true. Cash secured puts on Bank of America, Hyliion, one rolled off. It was ripe for the picking to get put to me, and it didn't because of the volatility. So we'll collect the premium on that. Good to go. I've got one call contract sold premium on one contract in the 12s. There's no way that'll cover unless it just goes bananas, which is totally fine too. But and then a couple at 9s starting in May for the strike. So all right. And the total overall portfolio value at 42,751. We're up about 10 grand week over week. Okay. So last week I told you guys I was just down big. I didn't panic. I didn't YOLO my portfolio into doggy coin. I didn't go out and put everything in high risk investments. I didn't consider investing in GameStop. Remember at the top of the live stream, I said, don't try to make this thing more difficult than it needs to be. Okay. If you really want to make money in this gig, I don't know, take a look at Google, Facebook, Amazon, don't outthink this gig. It's not that difficult. If you really want to play it a little bit more value and growth, consider the two bigs in financials, right? Microsoft and Apple, in technology. In financials, JP Morgan will do you just fine, right? Lots of really good options out there, some Dow components. Goldman Sachs has just been on fire. Nobody talks about it. And that's one of the 71 offerings in that portfolio that allows me to grab exposure in some of those companies that I really don't want to hold in a larger amount. TJ Maxx, Nike, Starbucks, Thermo Fisher Scientific, right? A lot of names like that I really, really like and I want exposure to, and I own them in that 71 portfolio, and it works really well because I can dollar cost average over the portfolio with as little as $50. So it really, really helps a lot. All right. So that's the portfolio review, guys. I'll jump into the comments here, man. Let's see who's in the gallery. And there's a ton of people, man. Ryan Giffen is in the house, baby. Congratulations on that new truck, man. Sick. It's an entrepreneuring mind, man. I saw that and I just got a smile on my face because I was like, yeah, this is awesome. We celebrate success on this channel, man. So if you got a little success to share, do not hesitate at all. Okay. Hey, come on. And the sky's the limit. I poke a little fun at that 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 million. There'll be some of these guys and gals that absolutely get there, and that's great. We just need to understand that the financial category is just that, and it's not life in its totality. I'm just saying that. All right. Somebody says great live stream. I've put in a few doozies, no doubt about it. It's hard to get in that zone every Friday, but usually by the end of the 60 minutes, I'm starting to start my diesel engine, and then I gotta shut it off, But that's all good anyway, man. I got Matt Money in the house. Fantastic. That's my brother. And here's his partner in crime. Apple earnings next week, baby. I think Apple earnings are going to surprise for sure. It's been kind of a sleeper, been kind of a dormant deal, and investing in Apple really doesn't take a whole lot of brain power to justify that one. There's a few stocks that showed up on my list that I can't get my head wrapped around it. Booking Holdings is one. They had an atrocious 2020 with the pandemic. But I can't bring myself to justify that. I would rather go with the Amazon route in discretionary, maybe even a Lowe's. And if I was going to go out on a limb, I would say an Ulta Beauty absolutely. Yeah, Amazon is kind of like the shooting fish in a barrel name, and then McDonald's probably tops the list in discretionary as far as I'm concerned. Okay, again, man, don't make this more difficult than it needs to be. There's a ton of people in the gallery, man. I want to cruise through here. I've got some Chris, man. Thank you so much. That was really good. I actually cooked some of my ahi tuna with the syrup that you'd sent me. It's just awesome. It's just awesome. It's incredible, man. If you guys don't know, man, to get that stuff homemade, it's absolutely fabulous. So we live kind of a VIP lifestyle here in the community, and each and every one of you guys is part of it, man. I hope you look at it that way. I got Rebecca in the house. I'm going to just do a few shout outs here, and then I'm going to bring Junior Stock Investor on the channel, because it's been a while, man, since he's been on, and I want to look forward to engaging in a nice discussion. Had Dividend Driver James in the house, who was engaging in some killer conversation with me, and just respect the heck out of that opinion, because where I'm quick to admit that I don't know because I'm not in the industry, okay, I absolutely have, my thesis about a stock, and it's really encouraging when people come on and be like, yeah, I don't know, Ryan, we need to take a look at this. And I just think it makes us that much more informed and better investors. Absolutely. And Noella's in the house, my sister in Canada. Fantastic. It's great to see you. She's been with the channel since the beginning, since we started laying the first brick. Yeah, we were laying the bricks. And Noella was like, hey, let me help. It's great to see you. Awesome, man. And let me cruise down here. I saw some other folks in here. I got some Vipers in the group here, and Sean's in the house. Yep. It's great to see you. Great to see you. Eric Weber, my brother, and the family is in the house. Fantastic. I couldn't take more than 25 years. I think I might make it those extra 5 years before I start to lose my marbles. And that's about the time when I want to walk away, when I've earned the right to walk away and still be somewhat cognitive about what I'm doing, and maybe engage in some travel. And Alex in the house, the Blood Phantom. You guys, man, you gotta check these channels out. Alex is on the level of Blood Phantom. Absolutely. He's a lot like me too, man. Kind of has like a legit job, like a 9-to-5er, which is kind of cool. Very unique perspective and a brilliant investing mind. Glad to know him, and just one of many in the network here that if you guys want to know the secret sauce to what I value on the Independent Investor channel, it is absolutely the network. And Daniel says he loves the channel. The channel's just a channel. YouTube is a conduit, that of which I kind of scoff at the face of YouTube. I don't banter to the algorithm. I don't care. I use it as a conduit to get to as many people as I possibly can. And if you make your way into the message and it's not for you, I totally understand. But I think I've got an interesting ability to break this stuff down, tell you what I do. I know this stuff works, no doubt. It can work for a lot of different people in a lot of different capacities. So if you're open-minded and you really want this, it's 80% mental. So if 80% mental is your gig, and you want to think yourself to a better place, and it does require at some point some 20% of a physical action to start an account, to try to go through a deliberation and finding out what type of investor you want to be. It does require a little bit of diligence on your end. But again, I think a lot of people really try to outthink this sucker, and it's not meant to be outthought. Okay. Come in and catch a message like mine on how I'm whipping some ass in the stock market, and I would wish you to do the same. It's that simple. If you need another layer of help, hit me up DM. Hit me up through my independenceinvestorgroup.com, man. I roll those out. I don't advertise them. They are out there because for the few people that are very serious about this, they'll seek out and find the opportunity on their own. I don't need to press. Okay. I only want people that are willing to help themselves anyway. Thinking about jumping on high is what's your bull thesis and doing it? Yeah. Well, the bull thesis is surrounded around highly on realizing sales, and they've got to be aggressive. And I don't know if they are working on a sense of urgency behind the scenes. They better be. Otherwise, they need to hire me to get in there and start cattle prodding some people, because it's shut up or show up. It really is. I don't know what else to say. It's going to be a very, very competitive landscape. It's one that I spoke about that I thought many players could succeed at. I think to the great divide is good businesses based on how well they operate and execute, as opposed to some of those businesses where their focuses are misguided. In other words, I think Hyliion has the pedigree to put something special together, and whether or not they end up doing that is going to drive where they go. That's it. I mean, they've got to start making some reality of this strategic vision. And what worries me is that we've been going through the SPAC process. Months come and go. Here we are, a publicly traded company, and May 11th. If I need to wait until then, fine. But we better see some shit in the hopper as far as I'm concerned. That's my bottom line. Okay. Obviously, my bull thesis has got me through my layers of deliberation with the company, enough for me to take a rather large position in the company. But I reserve the right to be wrong. This is a speculation company. Okay. It's pre-revenue. They've got the pedigree, but they need to start realizing some of the strategic vision, and they better be on the phone selling some stuff to people. They better be. All right. Cruising down and make sure that all the shout outs got done. I got frame of mind in the house. Got to do all good, man. Got to throw all good. And as well, thank you to Lydia for last week. It was very, very cool. So I run an open forum on the Independent Investor, and I usually do the first hour by myself, half hour by myself. Then if there is a guest in the gallery, I bring them on, and that allows me to go over progress on the channel, but also provide an opportunity to bring the guest on. And we're going to bring Junior Stock Investor on. I haven't spoke with him for a while. You guys will enjoy that. That'll give me an opportunity to comb through some of these questions and see what's on your mind, guys. Junior, got me?
Yes. Oh, there's my beer. Cheers to you, Ryan. Thank you for having me on tonight.
My
Happy
pleasure.
Friday. I also want to say happy Friday and good evening to everybody in the live stream. Hope you guys enjoyed your day today and your weekend as well. Um, it's been a while, man. Thank you for having me on. It's been a long time.
Well, what do we do when we're not on the live stream together? We're living life. We're working. Um, trying to embolden some of those other categories that I talked about, right? The
Yes.
spiritual and the health. And you said, we were talking before the live stream tonight, how life's just kind of doing its job. Time goes by fast, you gotta, and that's part of my aggressiveness for this live stream. I take this very, very seriously because you had mentioned something to me, Junior. You never know who's listening.
Yeah.
And if we impact one people, there might be 1,000 or so to come into the live stream after we post it, but we got to make sure that we're reaching people.
Yeah, and I've always told you, even in the past too, like you put in your time too. You put in your time, every Friday night to talk to everybody. And the cool thing is you have everybody that's consistent, and even new people that come on too. And I talked about this in also Met Money and in Kyle's channel, like a month or two ago. And towards the end when we wrapped it up, I was like, the biggest thing, and it's for everybody too here. The biggest thing for me is to give advice to everybody. It's more fulfilling to give some advice and information than to receive in it yourself. It really is. Like, and some people it's hard for others because everybody's going through certain situations. But I always feel like give first. Give because the universe circles itself when you give first. It
Oh,
really is.
it's funny about that too. Like, I think finding a meaningful relationship that's hard.
Yeah.
And that's something that it's hard for me to sit across from somebody. I got lucky, but also to my credit, I put myself in a situation to be lucky. Like I was a wild man. You know what I'm saying? I was a wild man, and it was through that like free spirit that I was able to come upon the love of my life. And I would wish that upon anybody, but there's not a whole lot that I can say to help out with that. There's a lot of people I come across that are spiritually not happy, problems with health and well-being, which I put number one on the list. Finances is not like that. It's so much more mechanical. It really is. Now, I know I say all the time, there's no two portfolios the same. But there's only a few strategies that I like to revolve around that really, really work.
Mhm.
So if you're an investor out there and you think that you need to reinvent the wheel, or you need to find that needle in a haystack, or find that next best stock, I'm here to tell you that that's not the way. That is not the way.
Well, it's interesting you say that because so the beer I have is not it's flying. Oh,
That's good.
see, I've
Flying
been drinking
fish.
too much. I can't even put the beer on the camera. But earlier, guys, I had a Dogfish beer. So Dogfish is owned by Sam Boston Beer. They own Truly. They
Mhm.
own Twisted Tea. And the reason why I'm saying this is because everybody's big on Dogecoin and Bitcoin, which is fine. Like, I don't ever discredit anybody for cryptocurrency. But when you said it's not hard to find those stocks that, that go up. And the reason I'm saying it's the same Boston beer. And the reason why I say that is because that's one of those stocks that nobody talks about. And if you invested it last year, you almost tripled your money in
Yeah.
Sam Boston Beer. It was trading at 300 some dollars. It is now trading at almost $1,300 a share. They just had earnings today, blew expectations. Of course, everybody, their sales went up because of COVID, but the reason why I'm talking about this because those are stocks that people don't talk about.
Yeah.
Domino's, another one. Simple things, and
Yeah.
sometimes it could be in your circle of competence, and sometimes it could be something that you use all the time that you didn't figure out that you could have invested in. But that's what I'm telling you guys. Like, look at the stocks that you use on a daily basis that people don't talk about because those are the ones that are the silent killers. AutoZone is another one too.
Bingo.
AutoZone
Yeah.
is another one.
Yeah. Well said. I think that's the intrigue for me on the stock market is the multitude of opportunities. For me, I've been doing this a long time, so you don't think I have the woulda, coulda, shouldas in
Yeah,
the market. When I try to generate a woulda, coulda, shoulda, sometimes it goes south on me, and I'm like, geez, why me? You got to be kidding me. So it's sometimes incumbent upon the investor to make sure that they can separate what it is that they have real dollars to work in
hmm,
and kind of let bygones be bygones because man it seems like I watch opportunities come and go all the time.
yeah,
I had an order in for 10 Bitcoin at $3,000 and I was like I don't want to lose 30 grand, you
yeah,
know. Look what it'd have been worth now. And it's like people are like, yeah, right, Ryan, you did. And that's the truth. I did.
yeah. True.
I was highly considering, had the order in and just didn't place it. I've been on companies like that many, many times in my life, and the whole woulda, coulda, shoulda thing is, I think you have to have kind of a short memory in the stock market too, you
Yeah.
know?
And also like a circle of competence, right? Because my buddy, he's
Yeah.
big into Bitcoin. He has it in, I think it's Celsius. So I'm not sorry, guys, I'm not big on Bitcoin, but I never discredit anybody that does it, right? Because all it is for me is a circle of competence, right? Oh, Chipotle is another one too. Whoo, Chipotle.
I know Chipotle.
True. There's
You said you got to know the business,
You got
you
to
know?
there's an individual I follow, Wall Street Trapper. If you guys ever get a chance, check out his channel. He
Yeah.
talks about Chipotle. It's one of those stocks. He said he waited 2 years to invest in, and he tripled his money. Is what because Chipotle always had a high multiple for years, man, years, and then even before COVID, with the whole E. coli situation, the stock crashed, and then with the pandemic, you could have got it at $400 something, and it's now trading at $1,400. That's crazy,
Yeah,
you
for
know.
sure.
But it's
I thought
it's one of those things that it's not talked about, and the news, especially CNBC, and I've talked about it too. Like they have good information, but they also have a strategy, and the strategy is to pivot things in a way that you can sell or listen to and pay attention to the high flyers, right? The fangs, and those fangs are good. Your Facebooks, your Amazon, the so on and so forth. They're
yeah.
good, but they don't talk about the ones, the silent killers, your Chipotle, your AutoZone, your Sam Boston beers that are
Yeah.
quietly going up year over year.
Yeah.
So
I wonder why that is.
it's you know what? It's not the sexy stock, right? The hype stock. It's not
Yeah,
like
they are.
so when you think of Sam Boston beer, obviously it's just your twisted teas, your Trulies,
Mhm.
right? It's not something that's a high flyer where it's like, maybe Amazon, they have Amazon Prime, they have the Audible, they have, the store, they have Whole Foods and Jeff Bezos and everything else. Like, before Elon Musk is now, I think the richest man in the world now was Jeff Bezos and, your Facebook. You know, I know Kyle loves Facebook. I know he's in there. Facebook, Netflix, right? And everyone was worried about Netflix because of Disney Plus. But if you didn't realize, Netflix was lowering their operating um, expenses and doing their own creation, right? They did their own Netflix films, Netflix documentaries, right? They
Yeah.
were burning cash back then, but some people didn't pay attention to that. They're like, "Oh my God, Disney's going to take them out of business." Well, why? Disney can only show so much. They can't show Ozark, right? They can't show like shows like that, So
Well,
it's
you're invested in Disney, but you're not invested in Netflix, right, Junior?
no, my fiance's invested in Netflix in her Roth, and I have
Hmm.
Disney, and I'm up 65% right now in Disney because I was buying it when it was when I was
90,
80
80. Yeah.
$86. Yeah,
Yeah, that was a rock bottom. I don't think we'll see that again. I don't think we'll
probably
see it.
not.
I
I don't
think
think so.
we'll go on a multi-year tear here. I think that entry right there, don't give that away because I think you're sitting well.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think with also, I know we all, well, not all of us, but most of us got our stimulus a month or two ago. This everyone's ready to go out this summer. I think it's going to be a big reopening. Your bars, right? Your beaches, your vacations. Airbnb. Oh man, they're going to soar to years to come. That is a stock where I know some people didn't invest it right away because of IPO, but to me personally, I think that stock is gonna in the next 5 to 10 years is gonna really change the game. It has changed the game already. More and more people are staying in Airbnbs than hotels now than before. So
you're
I think
not
it's a
the
stock that's really gonna go up down the road. It's a long term.
I
My
think long
opinion.
term, you're not the only one that I've heard say that on Airbnb. And
Yeah,
I agree with you. I think it's right there in the top of, paradigm shifting.
disruptive. Yeah.
I don't know if Marriott's or the Hiltons, which I put in the top tier categories, but I think to say that people haven't been changed over the last year due to the pandemic is probably very short-sighted.
Yeah.
And I think companies like Airbnb they're gonna dominate. I was on vacation a couple of years ago, and everybody I talked to down in St. Martin were like, "Yep, we did Airbnb down here."
Oh yeah.
Every person I talked to, you
And they
know,
benefited with the pandemic. Not to say like obviously the pandemic was rough on us, especially for me, last year mentally. But even so obviously the reason why I say that because a lot of people are having trouble to fly internationally, right? Because a lot of international flights, depending on the countries, are you need like the vaccine shots and everything. Whereas domestic, you can just do an Airbnb. Like maybe go to the Poconos or if you live in the Northeast or Maine or Vermont, or if you live in Cali, right, San Diego, San Francisco, LA, any places out there to do Airbnb. So
yeah.
that's one I want to hold. I haven't bought it yet because I'm actually saving money for the taxes for my Roth conversion next year. So I've been saving the money for those taxes. So I'm gonna,
I'm not buying anything.
yeah.
I'm not buying anything. I just did the recalculation, and what came up on the list is to buy. I already own Merck and Pfizer and J&J.
Hmm.
Um, but those are the three that I would just buy more of.
Yeah, there's your
Okay.
consistent.
IBM just came off a huge quarter. I would just leave that alone. Apple, I could double up on. JP Morgan, I could buy more, but I think financials have been on a pretty good run.
JP
Um,
Morgan, that's number. I mean, JP Morgan is just
yep. And
they're
then
all
Disney. But Disney's run up too nicely. So
yeah.
entering into the stock right here, I actually think that it's got a lot of runway in front of it. But it's still got some headwind. I don't even are the parks open yet, Junior?
They are open.
Are they?
Florida, the one in Florida, Disney World is open. I don't know about Disneyland because I know that's in California, so I'm not too familiar. But in Florida, they're
Mhm.
definitely open. Yep, because Florida is open. Um, if they're open for pretty much everything, they're
Yeah.
not like New Jersey where we still have masks, obviously for public places. I believe Florida and I want to say down south. Don't if anybody in the chat correct me if I'm wrong. I think most of the states like Texas and all that is just wide open. Like there's no
Yeah.
regulation or restrictions. I mean, so.
Yeah. There's some other stuff that I'm looking at that it's kind of on the bubble for me.
Mhm.
Thermo Fisher Scientific, Abbott Laboratories, Eli Lilly, and Medtronic in healthcare,
Oh yeah,
right?
I believe so. Yeah, because
And then we got
just
some technology stuff, Adobe Systems, Texas Instruments, and PayPal. Now
oh
you're a big fan of
yeah,
PayPal, right?
that's I'm up 75% PayPal right now.
Well, is it still continuing to maintain your bullish thesis, or you're just going to continue to hold? You've seen no business change and shift and sentiment at all, right? It's
Yeah,
on fire. Stock's
I'm
on
gonna.
fire.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna hold. There's no reason for me to sell. That's a 5 year hold. That's one I put a 5 year hold on PayPal.
Gotcha.
Yeah, uh, PayPal and even Square too. They're what obviously they're both duopolies, right? They pay Square, PayPal, your Visas, your Mastercard, but PayPal. I love PayPal because I have a Venmo that's owned by PayPal, so I use Venmo all the time.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Venmo's fun. I use Zelle too.
oh yeah,
I sometimes worry about PayPal and the how exclusive, I guess, their product is. And I might be overblowing it a little bit. Like PayPal, I look at and I kind of cringe. I actually look at Netflix and I kind of cringe a little bit because
yeah. It's
just over the last year and a half, I've got familiar with Netflix and I hate their search function. I hate it. And I go through there and I'm like, why can't they get like good old movies? Like,
well,
is it like,
they bring in some good movies. I mean, they have a lot of content. I think I like what Netflix is doing, especially the original content. They have some good stuff. A lot of good documentaries.
yeah,
I actually just watched I can't even pronounce it. Sea Conspiracy or something like that. It's about
okay.
the ocean, and it's a really good documentary if people are interested. It talks about not just the pollution in the ocean, but what's going on in Japan with hunting dolphins, and it's actually some serious stuff, man. Um, but it's I'll just wait for those McDonald's. Yes, McDonald's. Yes, that's another one. McDonald's is another one.
It's
If
easy.
you easy, and it's a REIT. I don't know if I've mentioned that before. McDonald's to me is a REIT.
Yeah, it's a big real estate play. I mean,
It's a REIT to me.
I use it to feel discretionary. It fits nicely for me in discretionary, like a Lowe's,
Yeah.
like an Amazon, right? But yeah, they've got it dialed in. It's amazing the business and the moat that they've been able to build over the last 5, 6 decades, however long it's been around. It's
Yes.
incredible.
And the thing is with McDonald's, like people are like, oh, McDonald's, everyone's going healthy, they're dying. I'm like, you got to look at the bigger picture. I look at it as, like I mentioned before, it's a REIT. I know they have their burgers and their breakfast is really popular, definitely in the morning. If you ever drive by McDonald's, their drive-through is packed for breakfast, but they're a REIT, because the franchisee has to pay the franchisers. They own the land, where they built the McDonald's. They own the land.
Exactly. Yep.
That's huge. A lot of people don't understand. What do you guys think of Salesforce? That's another one too. That's another high flyer, Salesforce. I know a lot of people talk about that. I'm not invested in that personally, but
I
that's a
am.
good one.
I am. I own it. I'm very, very bullish on this company, and think that it'll probably, if you had a 5 year time horizon, it'll
Okay.
double from these levels. Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
PayPal. Yeah, for 5 years, like I could see it doubling, and you know,
It's a different business. It's number one in the customer relations management software. So basically, these guys come into big businesses that they're already in, all big businesses. And any data and analytics piece that you could ever extrapolate from a business or company, they digest it, and they make it into a presentable product for the board, CEO, whoever the board needs that information. CRM makes that information available to them. It's number one. Yeah, it's number one. It's really good.
that's the way to go. Software, Microsoft. That's
Mhm.
my biggest holding in my IRA. Is that I just love Satya Nadella. I just love how
Yep.
Microsoft runs its business.
Yeah,
To
it's a
me,
beast.
they're an ETF. To me, they're an ETF because they're so diverse, they're so
Yeah,
strong,
yeah.
they're so diverse in their company, and their cash on hand is insane. I know we talked about in Kyle and Matt Money Kyle's channel, like they have $136 billion. Think of that's insane, man. That's crazy amount of money.
Yep. Yeah. Microsoft is just one of those companies that, man, if you're focused on other stuff in the stock market and you don't own these companies like Microsoft, Apple, throw a J&J in there, very easy in healthcare,
Yeah.
right? There's those names that really trickle to the top. And if you wanted to say, well, what about Visa, Ryan? I'd be like, yeah, absolute right.
Visa.
So, just man, if you're going to try to overthink this thing like I do a lot of the times, I've built up years of layers to be able to kind of say, hey, can I take a strategic shot here and there? But I think all too often people are trying to take those strategic shots first, you
Yeah.
know, and maybe they win. I don't know. Maybe they win, and then they think that it needs to be duplicated over and over again, and that's just not true, you know?
Well, and I think people too, like, so definitely read the book. And I know it's a classic one. I'm sure most people have read it, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And the reason why I love that book personally is because it'll change your mind psychologically the way you look at money. And that's the thing. I think the problem with some people in the stock market is it's the short term, right? Like, hey, I need to get this money right away. I need to get this money right away, without thinking of how psychologically money is in our brain, right? Like, we're so used to working so many hours. Most of us, whatever job field we do, like, if you're in sales, you commission, salary, hourly, doesn't matter. We all put in one thing: it's time, the amount of time to get that money. Where in that book it talks about all the time you put in for money is not going to equal to wealth, because you need your money working for you. If you have more liabilities than assets, you will never create wealth. As simple as that. And we don't think about that. Most of us, now we know now, but a lot of
Yeah.
people don't know what passive income means. They really don't. When you tell them, and,
Smart.
and it all comes from financial literacy. I never knew what passive income meant until I was frustrated with the situation. I went on YouTube. I watched your channel. I watched a whole bunch of you guys, and I was like, and I looked at my portfolio. I was like, so this is how it works. This is how you build wealth, and you don't learn this in school. It's because I think, well, there's so many different layers, but Wall Street Trapper said it the best. If they teaching financial literacy in school is like a lion telling a gazelle how to get away. If a lion tells a gazelle how to get away, it won't eat. If everybody learned this, and that's the sad part, it gets deep, and that's why sometimes I don't talk too much about it, but it does get deep, because there's reasons why they don't talk about a Roth IRA in commercials. There's a reason why they don't talk about passive income and ETFs. They'll talk about a financial advisor and a mutual fund. You've talked
Yeah.
about it yourself, Ryan.
Yeah.
You personally had somebody that was that you had a mutual fund with, and they charge you so much money in expense fees.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you, because you're telling us, hey, I went down that road, and I want you guys to self-direct on your own, because you can do it. You'll save yourself a lot of money, and if you follow these fundamentals, whatever stock you follow, you're gonna make it. And I appreciate a person like you, because a lot of people, man, lose a lot of money in these mutual funds. Hardworking individual middle class workers, man. It's
over time. And remember, the financial institutions have been predicated upon this premise that regular people are stupid and you will not make it on your own. And in your very moment of truth, you're going to crawl back to a financial planner and beg them to help you through this time of great turmoil.
yeah. And
I find all the time that people fail in stock market investing by their own doing, and failure to get, if what I said is true about the 80% being the lion's share of making it or breaking it in stock market investing, then why are people so concerned with the 20% that remains?
yeah,
Why? You got to get the mind right. That's
mind
what's
right,
going to determine it, right, man? Yeah.
and distractions, and everybody in this live chat here. I can talk. I've been drinking too much beers, but
Yeah,
everybody
good
in
for you.
the live
It's good for the spirit, baby. Come on now.
but everybody in the live chat, you guys are blessed, because you're learning something that most people don't learn. And what I would tell you guys is, you don't have to do it, but tell somebody, tell a family member, a friend, tell them about this, guys. And this is important, because it breaks my heart when I see people work hard for years and don't receive that compensation back, man. And it breaks my heart, especially what we've been taught with
Yeah.
401ks. We've never been taught about Roth IRAs or traditional IRAs, right? We've never been taught how to make our money work for us, man.
I think
Guys, man, just go out there, tell people, and enjoy your life, enjoy your time too. Don't focus too much on the stock market. It's going to do its work as well. So,
I think so. And I think it's important to remember that there's a program for everybody. Like, not getting invested is not an option for me. In other words, if you come to me like everybody does and they're like, Ryan, I don't know anything about this. You seem to talk along the lines that it's really, really important, and it is. I want to get invested but
Hmm.
my risk tolerance is very, very low. My profile for investing, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Well, people need to understand that they don't have to go out there and throw darts at a dartboard to try to
Mhm.
put together a 25 stock portfolio. And I think that's what a lot of people have in their mind, is that they need to understand that there are products out there just to get them started
Yeah.
and get them up. Look at VTI right now. Are you telling me that VTI isn't encouraging people about the power and the prospects of passive investing? If it's not impressing you, then perhaps maybe you need to go restudy
Hmm.
the power of compounding interest over time, the power of diversification, and really recheck your expectations of investing, because I think that's important too. I think a lot of people get involved with investing and they're like, this is great. Next week I get to retire because I've become an investor with my first $150.
Yeah, and I think, before, I know it's getting closer, but another problem too, Ryan, is language, right? Language and lingo, and it gets deep because language and lingo separates everybody, right? We know about it because we've did our due diligence to understand it. But if you talk to somebody, if you talk about dividends, um, stock going into the upside, average down, they're going to be lost. It's like a mechanic trying to tell you about your car, and you're not big on cars. Oh, let's see. Genius is on channel. Oh, I appreciate that. I am working on that. Me and my fiance are working on that, and I hope
You,
that
you
yeah,
we
we are.
need more ambassadors of people coming on, Junior. You, like what was said in the last one too, and I've been saying this to you for a while. Okay,
Yeah,
I
I
think I was
appreciate
the
it.
first
Thank
one.
you.
I've been saying this to you for a while. I think the idea really is just to come on and share, what investing means to you. You're obviously a very, very savvy investor, but I don't think you have to be an expert
Yeah,
to make this make sense to you. I think it's an ever evolving craft. I think it's like anything. You get involved and you learn, you make mistakes, maybe you
yeah,
deploy some strategies that work for somebody, and you can kind of take and make those work for you. And then you start to validate it for yourself. And that's where the fire gets started for people, man. But think of how many people you could influence, Junior. And then it becomes, once you can sit across from an audience and kind of, dare I say, teach this stuff, it becomes a lot more internal to you, because the subscribers and the visitors to the channel, it's the lifeblood for me. It's what gives me the energy
yeah,
to do this all the time. I couldn't do it if I just, that's the weird thing about podcasting, is that you have to sit down and you have no reciprocation. You have no energy. I do
yeah.
like podcasting. It's a very introspective type of evolution, but live streaming is the funnest thing that I do on
And
social media.
and that's why I always appreciate you doing that, because you don't see a lot of people do that. I know Kyle, Matt Money, they do it, but there's not a lot of people that invite people like us, because at the end of the day, you're giving us a platform to talk about our experiences and maybe give June needs. Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Yes, me and my fiance, we will definitely
She's getting well.
yeah.
She's getting well. She
Yes,
was in the hospital last Friday, man.
yes. We're
Lori,
praying.
we're with you. Thank you so
Yes, we
much.
are. Thank you again. Yeah, we are definitely with you, and I appreciate all you guys. I appreciate you, Ryan, and yeah, this is awesome, because it comes from here. At the end of the day, we have our mentor, but we have here. It's all about spirit, man, and
Oh
just
yeah.
loving one another, and just guys, forget about the news. I know there's always some bad things on the news, but really focus on this, because we are all coming from different backgrounds, but at the end of the day, we come together with one common goal, and that's obviously the finance and spirituality, and then just loving
Yeah,
each other, man. That's all it
that's
is.
it.
It's
That's it.
easier to love, and it's harder to hate. It's more energy to hate somebody, and it's a
Well
lot
said.
easier to love somebody. I'm telling you that right now. It's as
Well
simple as
said.
that.
Well said. I'm going to wrap it up, Junior, man. It's
Yes,
getting to be that time. Thank you, my brother. All right.
yes,
It's great to see you, man. Great to see you. Tell
yes,
Ashley hi for me, okay? All
yes.
right.
I'll tell her, and
Yeah.
you have a good night, and everybody else, enjoy your weekend, guys.
All right, brother. Take easy, all right?
All
Yep.
right, man.
All right, later.
Later.
That'll wrap up the Friday live stream. Fantastic. Big thanks to Junior. Always a treat when he comes on. I roll an open door policy, man. It's 60 minutes a week, and to come in and get an update on the channel, see what's going on, see what's shaking. I'm always hungry and keeping an eye out for what's going on with you guys. Absolutely. We want to make sure that we're progressing toward that end that we all seek, right? As I'm doing. And I'll be your staunchest advocate. I'm marching toward my own. I disclosed some of that for you guys tonight, just to give you some insight on what makes me tick. I think that's interesting enough, but I think the deeper question is to ask yourself what in fact makes you tick. What feeds that internal motivation for you to do this thing? What makes you want to drive and be a better investor for you and your family? I think that's really the key, and it's a heck of a lot more powerful than me coming on trying to embolden my message to put me on a pedestal. I don't need a pedestal. I'm totally fine coming on and rapping with you guys as an advocate for retail investors, man. Common everyday folks, man, those truck drivers, hard workers out there, the teachers, the healthcare workers, the social workers out there. I've got them all in my community. They're all represented here. A few retirees who have worked phenomenal careers and had phenomenal lives, and they come on here to kick around and revolve around this very, very interesting conversation, which sometimes spurs into other avenues of life. But if we can embolden the entire aspect of your life, then we're making an impact. And I couldn't ask for any better opportunity, guys. So with that, we will shut down the live stream. We'll catch you next Friday at 9 o'clock on the Independent Investor channel. Great to see everybody tonight, and we'll catch you next week. Cheers, guys.